Alright, so you've watched the last video and you may have decided that you don't want to be an actual audio engineer. So, what are you going to do? I'm going to try to make this very simple and, hopefully that you kind of follow that direction. You may branch off from that in some other directions. The first thing that you want to do, and what I would tell you to do, is look up audio engineer on Wikipedia and read that and understand that fairly well. Try to understand that, try to get a little bit of an understanding of that. I don't expect you to spend so much time that you become an actual audio engineer, but follow those links off, and when they chase you off somewhere, when you follow a link to somewhere else, try to follow those links somewhere else, and really just spend some time branching out on that a little bit. And, it won't hurt you to just say, for the next couple months, I'm really going to, look into that and check that out. So just try that. The next thing that I would tell you is that, that watch this channel. Go through and watch every video on this channel. Maybe some of them once or twice. And you're probably going to get a fairly well-rounded understanding of, a lot of the basics that are happening when you're dealing with audio engineering from the perspective of the DAW. So I really recommend that. The next thing I really recommend is that whatever DAW that you're working in, I suggest you get the professional grade version. Audacity can be very cool for looking around in, because you can get plugins that actually work that are from Sonic Visualizer for analyzing audio, to really just kind of dig around in there when you got time, and really to really look at audio and analyzing audio and what's going on with that. And the next thing I want to tell you is that every processor you have in your DAW, to understand each processor and its basic function. I don't look at some processor that does all kinds of multiple things. Basics effects and basic processors, the very basics and exactly the basic functions of what they do. Their basic function, and understand their basic function well. Now, after you get done doing that, in your DAW, hopefully by the time you've gotten that far, that you can afford, hopefully, to get a professional grade DAW. If not, do it in whatever DAW you're in. And that means start from the very beginning, from the front of it opening, and understand everything up from the tabs up at the top, and where everything goes and what everything is. I mean, understand that DAW inside and out, whatever you're able to work with. Understand everything it's able to do. Really research that. Go to its site. Go to its forums and investigate. Watch every video you can from the DAW you're working in. And if they got videos for that DAW, watch every video they got once or twice. That's the next thing. And the next thing after that is to look around at other DAWs. Other DAWs will have like video libraries of their DAW and how it works. You can get a lot of information about just how things function by looking at this, because most of them are trying to target the basic functions anyway. And so watch all of them that you can. If you're, trying to become, working with audio but not actual audio engineer, to really understand that stuff. The next thing that I was going to try to tell you to do is understand, audio, understand sound, so that when you're looking at sound and you're looking at waveforms, that, understand, what a sinusoid is, what a complex waveform is, understand when you're going in to do like, you're looking at even and odd harmonics, to really understand that, what are even harmonics, what are odd harmonics, what is harmonic distortion, so that way when you're looking at something, you understand what's happening there. So that, and what a timbre is, so you understand what timbre content is of a sound, and how it's coming together for a complex waveform. That's very important basic understandings. This site right here and this link right here will take you to this harmonics, overtones, and fundamental, and you can go through this and really mess around and read it and understand about even odd harmonics And so that you've got a pretty good understanding, no matter what sound you're listening to, what can be the content in there. And the other thing, non-harmonic distortion or harmonic distortion that's not part of the timbre or supposed to be, and things that you don't want in there. And noise, the different types of noise. I mean, there's lots of different types of noise. Look into it, and because they're all tools. Even noise and distortion are tools. And so investigate noise and distortion, because they're tools to help you make things sound better. They really are. In actual audio engineering, you can spend a lot of time trying to get rid of noise. In the DAW, you can spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to make noise and distortion work for you to make things sound better. And it's very true. And the next thing, here's a calculations link right here. This is, sound and studio audio calculations, all kinds of calculations. I suggest you go through this and really look through all these calculators and these calculations that have to do with any type of audio, and just browse through, go through them, and any of them that, and just, it can open some doors into some understanding and lead you on other paths. One thing is that, a really cool saying is that when you open up one door, sometimes it leads to other doors, and then you open those doors and it leads to other doors. So these are all doors that may open up all kinds of cool doors in your search, to get where you want to be. And there's a private search engine here also, if you see me tap that. And this is a library of this guy's search engine for all kinds of different concepts related and dealing with audio, audio engineering and things related to audio engineering. Some of it, really studio related, and some of it very audio engineering related. But it certainly ain't going to hurt you to go through this and, really look into it. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. And there's mountains of information there for you to dig through as you have time and to search for when you have real specific questions. And so that's another huge, thing. Another thing is, I suggest that the second, one aspect of that is electrical engineering. And here's a site here for, if you follow this to here, it's a simulator. And just, it can help you you can do a little bit of reading and understand some basic things like resistors and capacitors and what those things are and what they do. Just basics. There's all kinds of things in there, semiconductors and switches and inductors, ports, amplifiers, different types of amplifiers, op-amp basics, simple things like that. Get a basic understanding of the electrical components in circuitry. Just a base. You don't have to get in depth and, become an audio engineer, but just a basic understanding. That way that when you get done doing that, you can take that to the next part of it and try to relate that to coding. Look into that a little bit about what happens. How do you make a resistor in code? How do you make a capacitor in code? How do you simulate that? That way you've got a lot better understanding when you're looking at, montages of plugins and you want to get this other plugin, but you really don't have any idea if it's better than this other plugin. And the only thing you're doing is you're just trying to see how it sounds. And you really don't know what the thing's doing, if it's any better at all. And having an understanding of those basic components of circuitry and what those are trying to do in your, in your hardware, like a hardware compressor, and how that's been made into some type of software device that's being made out of code, and how that kind of goes together is a huge, just some basic understandings of that so that you can, relate to it a little bit better while you're dealing with things in the DAW. So those are a few things that I'd point out to you. The other thing is, I would definitely recommend that on this channel there is one video for certain that has to do with audio analysis tools, some free ones. I suggest you watch that video and you get all those free audio analysis tools and really look into them, investigate them, and what they're looking at, and the tools that they are to, understand audio and what's going on in audio from that perspective that is very much directly related to kind of work that you'd be doing in the DAW with audio. And those are the directions that I would give. And after that, the other thing that I would say is forums. whatever DAW you happen to be working in, really get into the forums related to that DAW. And once you do that, you'll probably find a lot of videos and people that are really into it that can help you. And the step in that process is to really target people, watch the forums or the support group on Facebook or at the DAW's site or whatever, any support groups that you can find about that, and really watch what's going on and watch the answers people give. And really, take some time trying to find, by watching every response you get, your phone tells you somebody just, made a post on, Facebook, right, in the forum, and you get, you want to get a message about that when people post, and go watch those people and watch their answers and try to target people and find people that sound like they really know what they're doing. And that's a process in itself. That way that you can really target the people that you think might really have some knowledge about, things that are happening in the DAW and the software that you're working with. So, if you're not going to become an actual audio engineer, that's kind of the path that I would put you on. And if you do all that by the time you get through all that, that's going to open up a lot of doors for you. You're going to get a lot of answers. And hopefully if you ask 2 or 3 people, while you're investigating, that you should have hopefully some pretty good answers about what's going on, and have some very specific questions. Make sure that your questions are targeted specifically and concisely, so that you're not asking some general idea that's huge, that you're going to get some huge answer that's confusing. Be real concise and precise about your questions when you ask. And, and then, take a piece of paper and really sit down and ask, write down, what are my real questions about this processor? And looking at the processor, and make a list. And really do a good job of listing out your questions, and go through it and make sure that your list and your questions are very well thought through before you ask the question. And that, because you might already find the answer while you're going through that process. And do that with any time you're trying to ask a question, because you might find yourself answering it just by investigating it and making a good list of what your question is and how it's related to things that you're working on. So I hope that gives you some direction if you're not going to become an actual audio engineer. And I really hope that you watch all the videos on this channel. And if you have direct questions, and that get a hold of me, give a message, send me an email. And, I even make a video for you, to really help you, and, I help you with a mix, if you really want, step by step, and go through it with you when I have time, and as I have time, to really help you get to the level you need to be for what you want to do. Which is I can't answer that for you, so it's really hard to give you that definitive a direction, because I don't know if you're just going to be at home, and it's not that, you're not trying to be production, you're going to be silent kind of production. You're going to make a home studio, but not a big one, but you're going to make a home studio, but a big one, or you're going to Dollywood, dude, there's, at what level are you shooting for, because what are you trying to accomplish with your studies? What do you hope to be able to do? Is it necessity, artistic, you want to be a sound sculptor, and I hope that this channel can answer a lot of those questions. So I hope you kind of start there with that search, on the internet, go to Wikipedia and those places, and just start following those links, and get a good general, well-rounded understanding of where all that stuff's branching out to. So I hope that gave you some direction, and I hope you asked some questions to get more direction, but I hope at least that gives you some kind of something to step up on, so that you can kind of move forward with some generalized directions that just aren't off into nowhere. Does that make sense? And I hope I use all those tools that I've laid out for you to just kind of really go through and understand some concepts that are happening. So I hope that was basic and easy to understand, and I hope it moves you forward. Peace, hope, love.